Ever since I was old enough to understand, my billionaire parents and my brother hammered one truth into my head. I was a stray, a placeholder, a counterfeit. If I so much as smiled at my brother, he'd sneer and call me a social climber. When I won a prestigious gold medal for piano, my parents didn't celebrate. They had the Steinway smashed to pieces. They told me I was drinking the blood of their real daughter. So, when the real daughter finally returned, I was the one who asked to leave. I told them I wanted to find my biological parents, but they blocked me at every turn. They said that as long as I stayed in my place and kept my head down, I could remain their daughter and sister. I was stupid enough to believe them. Then came a mock exam. The real daughter failed. She cried, saying she could never be as good as me no matter how hard she tried. And then she staged a dramatic suicide. In retaliation, they reported me for cheating during the SATs and orchestrated a sequence of events that landed me in a correctional facility. They called it the price for occupying a throne that wasn't mine. To atone, I endured every slander and every cold shoulder in silence. The day I was finally released, they presented me with a surprise. It turns out, I was their biological daughter all along. They had kept it a secret because they were afraid their long-lost adopted daughter would feel heartbroken if she realized they had replaced her with a biological child while she was gone. Now that the older sister has finally accepted me, they've come to collect me, smiling and ready for a happy family reunion. The day I walked out, the sky was a bruised gray, and the wind was a serrated blade that cut straight to the bone. The guard handed me a thin, worn-out coat. "Michelle Vance, you're free. From now on, don't be stupid." He looked at my tightly clenched sleeves, his voice dropping an octave. "And tell your family, tell them to get you a therapist." My eyes were hollow. I nodded, pulling my sleeves down even further to hide what lay beneath. Yes, I had served my time. I had paid my debt. Now, I could go find my real family. I hadn't walked 10 yards when a black Rolls-Royce, hazard lights blinking, pulled up to the curb. The window slid down, revealing a face as familiar as it was striking. Dominic, Sophie's loving older brother. His gaze was exactly as I remembered. Cold, clinical, devoid of any warmth. "Michelle, get in. We're going home." I didn't look at him. I kept walking toward the bus stop. Just as I reached the steps of the bus, a hand clamped onto my shoulder with bruising force. I was yanked back, my spine colliding with the icy metal of the car. Dominic loomed over me, his eyes filled with that familiar, reflexive disdain. "What are you doing? Throwing a tantrum like Sophie used to? Trying to make us feel guilty? Did 2 years in a cell teach you nothing but theatrics?" Ever since I went inside, my brain had felt like rusted clockwork. Slow, heavy, grinding. I stared at him blankly, taking a long time to process his words. Finally, I shook my head. I reached into my pocket and pulled out a piece of paper, softened and frayed from being folded and unfolded 1,000 times. I smoothed it out for him to see. "No," I said, my voice sounding like dry leaves skittering on pavement. "Sophie came to see me last time. She told me she found my real parents. Look, the address is right here. I'm going to my actual home." He froze for a split second. Then, his face darkened into a mask of fury. He snatched the paper from my hands and ripped it into a dozen pieces, tossing them into the roaring traffic of the wet highway. "Stop this madness," he growled, grabbing my arm. "Mom and Dad are waiting. You're coming with." I let out a sharp, strangled scream. I wrenched myself free with a strength I didn't know I possessed and bolted into the middle of the road. Home. I have to go home. I dropped to my knees on the freezing asphalt, frantically clawing at the scraps of white paper as they swirled in the wind. Tires screeched. Horns blared like dying animals. "Jesus, are you trying to get killed?"